Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is Como, from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Como, capital of the province of Como in northern Italy, situated at south end of west branch of Lake of Como, about 30 miles from Milan, and today is an industrial city. Its interest to Masons is on account of it being the center from which radiated the Comacene masters, who descended from the Roman colleges of artificers, and who built for the Lombards and others during their reign and carried their art and influence into the cathedral building of the Renaissance. See Comacene masters. The archaeologists have determined the form of the older city of Roman times to have been rectangular, enclosed by walls. Towers were constructed on walls in the 12th century. Portions of the walls are now to be seen in the garden of Liceo Volta. Baths common in Roman cities have been discovered. Fortifications erected previous to 1127 were largely constructed with Roman inscribed sepulchral urns and other remains, in which all Roman cities were unusually rich. Parapet of the old church of St. Albondio, Milan, 9th century. It is usual to record that Como was the birthplace of the elder and younger Pliny. The younger Pliny had a villa here called Comedia and was much interested in building the city, having founded baths, a library, and aided in charity for the support of orphan children. Of the many letters of the younger Pliny that remain, one is to the builder, Mustio, a Comacene architect, commissioning him to restore the temple of the Eleusinian series, in which, after explaining the form of design he wished it to take, he concludes, "At least, unless you think of something better, you, whose art can always overcome difficulties of position." There was an early church of Saints Peter and Paul in the 5th century that stood outside of the town, and the site is now occupied by the Romanesque Church of St. Albondio, founded in 1013 and consecrated 1095. There are found many interesting intrecci remains of early carvings of the Comacene or Solomon's Knob. See cut. On a site of an earlier church stands the present Cathedral of Como, which is built entirely of marble. It was begun in 1396, but was altered in 1487 through 1526 into Renaissance. Authors disagree as to whether the church was restored or rebuilt. The facade, 1457 through 86, follows in its lines of the old Lombard form, but the dividing pilasters are lavishly enriched, being perpendicular niches with a statue in each. Scott says that during the years from 1468 to 1492, the books of the lodge preserved in the archives abound in names of magistrate from the neighborhood of Como, both architects and sculptors, and among them was Tommaso Lombardy, who entered the lodge in 1490 with a letter of recommendation from the Duke, advising that he be specially trained in the art of sculpture. He and 4 others were sent to Rome to remain 10 years and perfect themselves in sculpture, to study antique and to return to the librarium as fully qualified masters. Rodari returned and sculpted a most beautiful north door of the cathedral in rich ordinate Renaissance style, although the lines are still under the columns, thus preserving a Comacene symbol so universally common in earlier times of pure Lombard style. The history of Como as a city with her various fortunes and defeats during the invasions of barbarians, and her long conflicts with her old enemy, Milan, may be found elsewhere. What interests us is the early colonization by Rome and her subsequent relations to architecture at the Renaissance. Soon after 89 BC, Rome sent 3,000 colonists at Como, and artificers were certainly among them. And in 59 BC, Caesar sent 5,000 more, and the place received the name Novum Comum and received Latin rights. See Comacene Masters. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.